time, let us repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the State of the City address. On behalf of our South Bend Common Council, we are very glad to have you here tonight to hear our mayor speak and give us the state of our city. In the middle of our symbol, you see the word peace. And we appreciate all those who make sure that our nation can have peace. And we are glad that we can have peace and enjoy peace on today. At this time, I would like to have all of our council members please stand, and our city clerk. On the front, we have Kimmy Hull, we have Councilwoman Valerie Shea, we have Councilwoman Karen White, we have Councilman Gavin Furlick, we have Councilman David Varner, we have Councilman Henry Davis, we have Councilman Tim Scott, we have Councilman Dr. Fred Furlick, and we have our city clerk, John Gordy. Also in our crowd, we have Janice Talbot, who's with our city clerk, and we have our council attorney. We have, I think, Sikansky. We appreciate them. Can we all give them a big hand for their service? I'd like to invite our mayor to come before us. We have a little presentation that we would like to give to him. On behalf of the South Bend Common Council, it says the South Bend Common Council and staff wish you all the best on your overseas mission. The South Bend Common Council, it lists all of our names, our council attorney, John Vorty, the city clerk, Karima Fowler, the chief deputy, Janice Talbot, the deputy, and Tricia Dill, the secretary. Anchors away. Thank you. And now our mayor.
Thank you, Council President Davis, for your words, and the council and Council Clerk's office and attorney for that unexpected kind gesture. Thank you, Pastor Miller, and thank you to the terrific students from Clay High School that we saw here tonight. And I'd like to thank my outstanding staff and that of the Century Center here for pulling this evening's event together. And thank you, to everyone gathered here, for your donations to charity this evening and for your interest in the state of our city. Members of the Common Council, Clerk Vorty, residents of our great city, and honored guests. Tonight, we are gathered on the birthday of America's greatest president, Abraham Lincoln. Everyone who has ever faced a challenge has something to learn from Lincoln, this self-taught backcountry lawyer, raised in Indiana, who came to guide our nation through its greatest and most dreadful national trial. Through leadership, determination, prudence, and an unyielding commitment to liberty and justice, Lincoln held our nation together and made possible the era in which America came to lead the world. But to read Lincoln's words closely is to be reminded that in his time, there was no certainty that America would last at all. His famous Gettysburg Address said it was the outcome of a war that would answer the question of whether the nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, could long endure. That question was to be settled the next year, the last of Lincoln's life, 1865. Also, as you read on our city seal, the year in which South Bend as we know her was officially established. There must have been great uncertainty here in South Bend, too, over whether this city would grow and prosper. Optimistic though they were, our forebears must have wondered if this venture of theirs would be remembered as a failed project or an enduring foundation. Indeed, 98 years later, with the loss of Studebaker, many believed that South Bend was finished, that it would be remembered as a city that rose and fell, a community that had come and gone. Yet today, nearly 150 years after this beginning, after Lincoln, the state of our city is growing stronger by the day, and our future is bright. Our forebears, living in the days of Lincoln, could scarcely imagine the progress that we have made. From the most fundamental achievements in sanitation to the astonishing gifts of personal technology. They would be amazed to see that clean, safe drinking water could be piped into every home in the community, or to watch an airplane take off from our airport. Their faith in progress and growth would be vindicated beyond their dreams by the modern face of our city. But if they could walk our streets today, they would also recognize our unfinished business. They would know poverty when they saw it, and would recognize that more must be done to give everyone a chance to thrive. They would recognize the pain caused by violent crime, and see that work must remain to be done in order to quell it. And they would see that some of our homes are gleaming, beautiful, while others are decrepit and abandoned. They would ask what we were doing to make life in this place better, to advance the hope of a more perfect community. Thinking about how we advance that hope calls to mind an observation that Lincoln made once in words far less famous than anything that made it into the Gettysburg Address. In 1858, he said this: "Beavers build houses, but they build them in no wise differently or better now than they did 5,000 years ago. Ants and honeybees provide food for winter, but just in the same way they did when Solomon referred the sluggard to them as patterns of prudence. Man is not the only animal who labors, but he is the only one who improves his workmanship." So tonight, rather than take you one department at a time through the many activities and achievements of your city government, I would like to share how we are improving our workmanship throughout, how this administration looks at tasks that are as necessary now as they were in the first cities 5,000 years ago, but that must be done in new and better ways in order for us to secure a better future with the resources that we have. I'll focus on how we do business in this city, our way forward in our approach, and show you the results along the way. We're defined not just by what we do, but by how we choose to do it. And our strategy here has been characterized by 6 principles that run across all of our work: partnerships, customer service, innovation, inclusion and transparency, believing in our team, and recognizing community as capacity. By sticking to those principles in everything we do, we can deliver change that endures long beyond one mayor or one council or one administration. So the first and most important of our strategies is to form lasting partnerships that help us to achieve common goals. Internal and external, new and renewed, these partnerships have enriched life for residents in this city and brought us nearer to our many bold goals while thickening the bonds that hold our community together. Spend even one day on the 14th floor, and you learn quickly that we cannot deliver anything unless we have partners at our side. We cannot deliver a more technologically capable city unless we partner with the best technology minds in the country, bringing them to our cities and sharing our discoveries with them. That's why we joined local private and nonprofit leaders to bring a national civic technology organization called Code for America to South Bend to develop new applications that better serve residents. The young IT professionals embedded with our city helped unlock a true civic technology community right here in South Bend, and delivered applications like City Voice, a program that gives residents a new way to be heard when we're deciding what to do with vacant and abandoned homes in our neighborhoods. That application is already being adapted for new uses here and has won international accolades. And meanwhile, the local civic groups, galvanized by their work with Code for America, continue to improve our city. It's just one example of what we are doing to create a lasting set of partnerships that position our community at the cutting edge of civic innovation. We cannot deliver a safer city unless we are partnering with one another and with those who have fought the same fight elsewhere. That's why last year we announced that South Bend would be joining the National Network for Safe Communities and convened an anti-violence commission to bring together community leaders. Now, the community is underway in delivering a new strategy rooted in cooperation everywhere from the United States Attorney's Office to Mamas Against Violence, from social services like Goodwill to the county prosecutor and city police department. Together, we have taken a stand against the violence that shocked our community in 2012. And together, we are moving forward to deliver results. Our community is encouraged by the 50% drop in homicides last year compared to 2012. But 9 homicides citywide in 1 year is still 9 too many. And it is as urgent as ever to identify and apply the most effective strategies known to address this problem. This is not a program or a project. It's a strategy that we must adopt and maintain long after the tenure of any one police chief, any one prosecutor, any one pastor, any one mayor. It's about weaving a better way of handling violence into the very DNA of how our city protects residents. We cannot deliver great neighborhoods unless we partner with all the different public and private sector actors who can decide the fate of vacant and abandoned homes. Partnerships are at the heart of our community's efforts to address 1,000 homes in 1,000 days with the right mix of rehabilitation where possible, demolition where necessary. Carrying out the vision of the Task Force on Vacant and Abandoned Properties, we are partnering with business and nonprofit leaders throughout the community, as well as state and federal government, to unlock resources that can help. And we're keeping score. Today, there are 140 fewer vacant and abandoned houses than when we started, and most of these were addressed through repair, not demolition. Another 207 homes are under contract for action as soon as weather and conditions allow. Meanwhile, we will partner with nonprofits to pilot a deconstruction program that trains underemployed and unemployed residents in skills useful for jobs in construction-related industries, building up their chances of future employment while they help us address these homes. And we continue to work to prevent homes from being lost to vacancy in the first place with our housing counseling, helping 166 residents maintain or discover suitable housing last year alone. We cannot deliver a robust and future-oriented city unless we partner with universities on issues like economic development and confronting brain drain. For example, working with the University of Notre Dame, and now with extra help from the Lilly Foundation, the NFocus program retains talented graduates in science, technology, and entrepreneurship to work with our community on issues benefiting us all. One project alone may save the city over $1 million by finding better ways to manage our vehicles, and NFocus is only in its second year. Meanwhile, MBA students conducted projects on ways to better market the city, and engineering cities are helping us to clean up Bowman Creek. This kind of engagement is more than a series of programs, and it's more than the sum of its parts. It is a chance to permanently change the culture of how we interact with students so that being involved in the city around you is viewed as a basic part of education in any of our 5 colleges and universities. We cannot deliver a well-equipped workforce unless we find partners in regional economic growth from both the public and private sector. And we are working to do just that. Last year, the Department of Community Investment, often working with state and county counterparts, had a hand in creating and retaining hundreds of jobs. It's one of the main reasons why our unemployment rate has fallen to 8.7%. Now, that rate is far too high. When I took office in 2012, it stood at 12%. We believe the single most powerful tool for driving that rate down further is workforce readiness. And that's why we're working with local business, the Chamber, the Regional Work One Office, and Ivy Tech. And for the first time on a project like this, our neighboring city of Mishawaka, to launch the SMART program. SMART stands for Supporting Manufacturers and Regional Talent, and it uses an employer-led curriculum to train and place up to 48 residents that work in the manufacturing economy. Economic development means more than real estate. It means investing in our human capital and giving people the skills to succeed in this economy. And we cannot deliver a well-governed community unless we partner among the ranks of elected officials in local government. The administration's most important partner in getting anything done for our city is our South Bend Common Council. And with legislation addressing safety, quality of life, housing, and more, the Council has worked with us to create a legislative and budgetary framework to better serve our residents. I especially want to thank the Council for the months of hard work, collaboration, dialogue, and honest give and take that led to the 2014 budget, a budget that tackles our community's priorities and balances the general fund, all while operating in a reduced revenue reality. It's part of why this year our city was once again awarded a rare AA rating on our credit by S&P, something that puts us among the very best. In fact, no Class 2 city in the entire state has a better bond rating than we do. That's why partnerships are so important. So in addition to partnerships, the second way we can improve our workmanship is by focusing on customer service. Every government process looks different when you look at it from the customer's eyes. And taking that perspective has helped us find new and better ways to serve. For example, the way we deal with phone calls looks different when you see it through the eyes of a customer. Asking yourself, what is it like to be a resident trying to get answers from the city? And how do we make it easier? That's why we set up 311, which was in its first weeks of operation when I last gave a State of the City address. Today, I'm happy to report that the operators have taken over 100,000 calls, streamlining our responsiveness on issues ranging from water bill collection to parking restrictions, providing vital data that we use to improve services. As this becomes built into how we deal with things and how we fix things in this city, it will be about a lot more than the one number, or the call center. It will represent a permanent change in how we relate to residents as customers, always looking for better ways to respond to their needs. Similarly, our business assistance process looks different when you view it through the eyes of a potential investor, sizing up our city, deciding whether to do more. Consider our tax abatement form, a process designed to entice businesses to come and grow here. Abatements exist as a way to put out an economic welcome mat to responsible businesses interested in improving our community with good jobs. But until last year, applicants were confronted with an 18-page essay test that threatened to send the opposite message. So our economic development team studied the paperwork and figured out a way to reduce that to 2 double-sided sheets of paper, while still gathering all of the information needed to conform to the city's existing policy on abatements. It's the same thinking that led us to establish a single point of contact in the Department of Community Investment, someone to navigate those overlapping processes of code and zoning, utilities and taxes, so the customer doesn't have to. And already we've served dozens of businesses and resolved countless issues in this way. It's an example of how we can constantly review every process in this city, not just from the perspective of government, but from the perspective of what it is like to deal with the government, and how we can make ourselves easier to work with. The third way we improve our workmanship is to celebrate innovation, to realize there's always more than one way to do everything we do, and to actively look for the best way. The basic obligations of a city, like sanitation, safety, have been more or less the same since the days of Solomon. But we should never rest easy with the way we do this, especially if there's a chance to save resources or make our services better. Across the city, this culture of doing the same things in new ways is taking hold and making residents better off. For example, there's more than one way to pick up trash, and our smart garbage trucks use robotic arms that let one operator do what used to take a 3-man crew. Even the bins are getting smarter. Using RFID tags, we will soon make it possible to detect in real time if a house is missed, allowing us to give better service, reducing the need for missed collection runs, so that our dollars and our manpower can be used elsewhere. There's also more than one way to power those trucks, and the new ones run on compressed natural gas, or CNG, filling up for the equivalent of 73 cents a gallon, and making us a more sustainable city too. There's more than one way to find out where crime is happening in our neighborhoods, which is why we're using new tactics and technologies to keep the city safe. Acoustic sensing technology, called ShotSpotter, helps our police to track violent incidents and pinpoint a problem before 911 even gets the call. There's more than one way to light up a building, warm it up, or cool it down, including the one we're in right now. And our municipal energy office has become a leader in energy innovation. By using different energy technologies, we have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars for taxpayers, with more on the way. There's more than one way to pay our bills. And taking new approaches to our finances has saved taxpayers millions. Our administration and finance department has come up with ways to take advantage of changes in the bond markets and refinance our city's obligations. And this approach has saved our city $1 million just on the bonds from the Century Center alone. There's even more than one way to run a zoo. And this year, we launched a new partnership with the Potawatomi Zoological Society. A great example of a public-private partnership with the potential to provide more great experiences to residents while saving taxpayer dollars. Thanks to the support of the Society, the Parks Board, and the Common Council, this partnership came together in time for the new year. And what you might have read about in today's paper, about our Red Panda exhibit, is just the first of many great new things in store for our zoo. And of course, there is more than one way for traffic to move in our downtown. Pun intended. When we saw evidence that two-way streets could lead to business and job growth in downtowns across America, we asked, why shouldn't South Bend have that? And by the time it gets cold again in the fall, we will be complete on Lafayette and William Streets downtown, as well as Jefferson Boulevard, not only restoring two-way traffic patterns that serve South Bend well in another time, but making needed streetscape improvements and moving more toward the kind of complete streets that are friendly to bicycles and pedestrians, not only cars and trucks. The timing could not be better as downtown reemerges to take its place as everybody's neighborhood. Everything from art to sushi, home beer brewing equipment, to a scarf or even a guitar made right here in South Bend can be purchased within walking distance from where we gather tonight. People are choosing to live, work, and socialize downtown at levels we haven't seen in years. More than technology or a series of initiatives, this is a way of doing business. It's about always looking at different ways to do the things we do, welcoming innovation and questioning habit so that we can meet our enduring obligations in new ways that make more sense and cost less for everyone involved. The fourth guiding principle for improving our workmanship is inclusion and transparency. We exist to serve every resident, and all residents deserve to be able to observe and shape the workings of their government. Serving every resident means all residents deserve access to the information we create on your behalf. That's why we became Indiana's first government to have an open data policy, using technology to make our government more accountable to the residents who pay the bills and on whose behalf the data is created in the first place. Today, data.southbendin.gov provides residents with information on everything from vacant and abandoned houses to employee salaries, and we're adding to it as we go forward. The same principle guides our legal department, making sure that we live up to the strict requirements of the Access to Public Records Act. Last year alone, our Department of Law processed over 2,300 requests for information under those state transparency guidelines, with fewer than half a dozen complaints and exactly 0 violations. It's a remarkable batting average, and it reflects a team working hard to do the right thing with public information. Serving every resident means all residents deserve a chance to give leadership a piece of their mind. Our Mayor's Night Out program allows residents in every corner of the city direct access to the top levels of government so that any resident in this community can command the undivided attention of their mayor. Together with council members and department leaders, we've participated in 19 of these events so far, and I sat down with 472 residents, one-on-one, since implementing this program. Serving every resident means that all residents deserve an administration that looks like the community that we serve. In identifying community leaders to serve on key boards and commissions, diversity has been a major priority. This also means our city should do business with a diverse range of local business, which is why we've hired a diversity purchasing officer and hosted trainings on city quoting and bidding processes to demystify the requirements and tear down barriers to doing business with the city so that more diverse businesses can be included. At the same time, there's much more work to do in order to make sure all the parts of this government reflect the community we serve, including more police and fire personnel. And I echo our police and fire chiefs in asking this community's help in encouraging talented minority and female applicants to apply for openings in those departments and throughout the administration. Serving every resident means all residents deserve a process that takes their voice on board when major investments are planned. That's why new initiatives like the West Side Corridor Plan, addressing Lincoln Way West and Western Avenue, are people-powered. After the Common Council authorized this program, we began to gather stakeholders from that area to launch a neighborhood-driven approach and make sure resources go where they can make the most difference. Already valuable input is coming this way, not all from outside experts, not from the top down, but from the people who live and work in the affected areas. Serving every resident means including every resident, even if they're not old enough to vote. And that's why we're creating a youth task force, empowering youth not only to bring their ideas, but actually to set up their own mission, set up their own projects, and then complete them later on in the year. And it means serving residents no matter their country of origin, which is one reason that we have made sure that 311 offers bilingual service. The idea of inclusion is so much deeper than the number of disclosures or hires that we've made. It's bigger than any program or project. It's bigger than any one part of our community. It's about changing the relationship we as residents have to government, all of us, because it's our government, and no one should feel left out. The fifth principle for improving our workmanship is to believe in our team. And winter is a good time to think about how extraordinary and hardworking our City of South Bend team is. When you hear the sound of a snowplow go by, scraping the pavement at 4 in the morning, that's a city employee making our streets safer. When you call 311 for answers on snow emergency parking, is it even or odd, is it north or west? That's a city employee working to connect you to your government. When you turn on your water in the morning, feel it go from cold to hot. There's a city employee somewhere who made sure it got out of the well and into your faucet. And if you do have an accident when you're driving, you have to call 911. Those are city police and fire personnel rushing to help you in the cold. Without the 1,000+ people of our city team, none of the things we take for granted in our daily lives would be possible. Believing in our team means empowering them to do things in new ways. It means equipping them with the technology to succeed and the skills to use that technology. That's why this week, I've approved a new IT strategy for our city administration. This strategy, which will be made publicly available online, charts a course for our administration and employees to get on the cutting edge and stay there. Believing in our team means expecting them to do new things and supporting them when they try. When the state notified us of an issue requiring us to perform extra asbestos inspections on abandoned houses, the potential taxpayer cost was enormous, and the result would have been to cut the number of vacant and abandoned homes we could address with a fixed budget. But our code inspectors stepped up and became certified to do the inspections themselves, saving taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars, accelerating our process, relieving residents of the blighted on their blocks. Believing in our team means sharing the rewards of performance improvement with employees. That's why last year's successful contract negotiation with our Teamsters included a performance bonus to encourage management and employees to collaborate, to improve safety, quality, efficiency, and effectiveness in city operations, and to reward workers when they succeed. And believing in our team means encouraging and empowering them to work across departments and reach out to others. One of the most moving experiences I had all last year involved two departments you might not think of as working together very much: animal control and the police department. But acting on the initiative of a young police officer and an animal control staff member, together with several volunteer groups and the Juvenile Justice Center, Project HEAL came together. The program pairs juvenile detainees with animals that are considered unadoptable due to behavior issues. The kids learn how to train the dogs. And by resolving the dog's behavior issues, they make them adoptable, potentially saving the animals' lives. I went to the first graduation, and I wish everybody in this room could have been there to see it. To see those kids realize they were needed. To see them stand up tall and take pride in their ability to bring something unexpected out of these animals. To see these kids' faces and their futures grow brighter. Shows what is possible when you refuse to give up on a child. But it also shows what is possible when proactive employees step up to achieve more in our city. Beyond any number of initiatives, any project, This is the way we do business. A change in what it means to be a city employee. A more demanding, but also a more rewarding workplace that invites everyone who serves here to come into work with ideas to make this a better place. The sixth and final principle has a lot to do with the first. To improve our workmanship, we need to not only drive partnerships, but look to the community to get things done. To see community as capacity. Government doesn't have to do it all. We don't have to solve every problem if we can empower people to be part of the solution. And South Bend is the kind of community where people step up and answer the call before that call even goes out. There are so many examples, but I only get to mention a few tonight. But take the example of Unity Gardens, which has deeply enriched our residents' relationships to food and to each other in just a few short years of existence. This year, their honey from the hood, cultivated in neighborhood gardens right here in our community, went to a taste test competition for the first time and took home nationwide honors. Take the Ignite Michiana program, which lit up the reinvigorated State Theater on more than one occasion with dozens of fascinating and exciting sessions led by people in our community sharing their passion with a passionate audience of hundreds more. Or take the example of mentorship in this community. More than 100 new mentors joining the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and another 80 stepping up to join the Education Foundation mentoring program in our school. All to give more young people in this city a shot at success and moving us nearer to the goal of doubling the number of mentor relationships in this city. Or just look at the bridge over Michigan Street at the northern approach to our city. An eyesore for years, which has been transformed into a work of art, thanks to the efforts of 963 different volunteers who put in over 9,000 hours to make that little piece of our city a better place. The enormous things that can be achieved by community members stepping up represent the best in our city. And they add up to something bigger than all our projects and all our volunteers put together. It's what we should come to expect in a community where residents understand that the city is what they make and that they can be the change they would like to see in our neighborhoods, our downtown, our hometown. Through these principles, this community has improved our workmanship in the art of self-government, that radical experiment of empowering people to craft their own destiny. It makes America what it is, an experiment whose salvation at the end of the Civil War coincided with the emergence of South Bend as a city. And it's working. Talking to people in every part of this city, you can feel the growing confidence that we are gaining ground. And having traveled this country from coast to coast, telling our story, gathering ideas and recruiting allies in the effort to make South Bend all it can be, I can tell you our stock in the rest of the world is rising fast. People are rooting for South Bend, outside our limits and right here at home. You can feel it. A year ago, I said that 2013 ought to be a year of action, and it has. The coming year must be one as well. There is no time to lose in delivering on the priorities that the administration, the council, and the community have set into motion, and we know that we have our work cut out for us. To truly deliver on priorities like neighborhoods, public safety, improved housing, and a thriving economy in every part of our city, we will need to be as disciplined and energetic as ever. And plenty of new challenges are coming our way. The rising cost of healthcare will put pressure on our city budget and must be addressed. Fluctuations in assessed value and a tax reform in Indianapolis with very uncertain outcomes could further constrain our revenues in the year ahead. Meanwhile, the need for our community to provide first-rate services and a great quality of life is only going to grow. But I have no doubt that we're going to rise and meet these challenges. For all the programs and projects, the facts and figures, for all the measures we keep score of, the most important thing we've witnessed is that the city has come to believe in itself again. And that's why our timing could not be better, as next year, 2015, marks the 150th anniversary of modern South Bend's incorporation. Our hometown has a big birthday coming up, and there's no better timing to celebrate and mark her accelerating comeback. Shortly, we will announce the formation of a number of committees to build and support this civic celebration. In doing so, we will rely on that concept of community as capacity. And this city administration will seek to facilitate the many ways in which the community can celebrate itself and consolidate the knowledge that we are coming back. Let's show ourselves and the world how South Bend is doing after 150 years on the map. Let's show what 150 years of hard work, leadership, determination, and energy by us and by our predecessors have built and added up to. The celebration will be a year long, lasting through 2015, which means we'll have a lot of work to do getting ready in 2014. On a personal note, I would like to thank the community for your support since I received orders to spend part of this year on deployment in Afghanistan. With just a few days remaining before that begins, I could not be more confident that this city will remain in good hands during my absence. Many have asked how to help during the time I'm away or offered prayers. And while I gratefully accept those kind wishes, I would ask that no one think of or pray for me without extending those thoughts and prayers to the many thousands of other service members who are there right now, and the millions of veterans who have returned home after serving our great country. By joining the military, they signed up to go to places like Vietnam and Somalia, Iraq and Afghanistan, all in order to protect places like South Bend. Many of them deployed several times, sometimes going on back-to-back tours. All of them deserve our thanks. And I would like to ask every military member, reservist, guardsman, and every veteran in this room to stand up for a moment and receive the thanks of a grateful city. Every department in this administration knows my expectations for continued progress and success. And our incoming Deputy Mayor, Mark Neal, will be a superb leader for the administration and the community during my time away. With the minor exception of some home improvement projects waiting for me at my house, nothing underway in this city will stop or pause during the next 7 months. And I know that I will return home to an improved administration and an even stronger community. And I also fully expect to come home a better mayor because of my time in service. I will miss a lot of things about our city, especially the way this place is in the spring and summer. The Silverhawks games and block parties, Sunburst and the urban adventure games, going running along our great river, catching up with friends over a burger or tacos in our great restaurants. What I'll miss most and be most eager to come home to are the people who make this city what it is. Whether it's the plow driver I met at the Streets Garage who refuses to complain, even though you can see how tired he is from 30-some straight days of snow removal, mostly on 12-hour rotations. Whether it's the father on the west side who organizes a soccer league that draws hundreds of kids to LaSalle Park every weekend in the summertime. Whether it's a supervisor of the county city building's cleaning crew who collects the tabs off the top of pop cans in order to help fund birthday pizza dinners for her crew that keeps our building looking good every day. Or the business leader I know who beams with pride at the construction of a new school. Doesn't want you to know that he's one of the ones who paid for it. Or it's a young man working at a coffee shop here downtown who I met who can't wait to turn 21 so he can apply to our police department. Or the fifth grader who walked up to a mayor's night out and showed me his plan to improve a city park. The community activist, good plan. Or the community activist 3 times my age who walked into my office and convinced me to join a cause that mattered to her. You are South Bend, and your way of putting others makes our city what it is, putting others first. I would be proud to even visit a city made up of people like you, let alone to lead it. So as we come to a close this evening, I want to return once more to the words of Abraham Lincoln. He also said, "I claim not to have controlled events, but confess plainly that events have controlled me." He was too modest. In fact, there was some of both. Much was out of his control, but he did everything within his considerable power to hold our country together, and in so doing, he helped decide the course of our history. And that's how it is for each of us. We have to be patient about the things we cannot control. But we also have to have urgency in addressing those things that we can. We are out to confront the kinds of problems that go back to the days of our city's founding, back to the days of Lincoln, and before that, all the way back, before the days of Solomon. Issues like protecting one person from the violence of another, or growing the ability of an economy to provide prosperity for all, or meeting the need for neighborhoods that lift all of us up, not just some of us. To meet those challenges, we need to have the urgency to sense that action is imperative, but also the patience to see everything we do through to a result, a permanent improvement, to establish enduring change beyond any number of projects or programs. There are the things we can control and the things we do not. As we've been reminded the hard way lately, we cannot control the weather. But we do control how well we take care of our homes and how we take care of each other when conditions grow harsh. We shovel out our cars and our neighbors too, if they need help. We cannot control what is happening in the national economy, but we do control how hard we work and what skills we can bring to the table for a better chance to succeed. Above all, we cannot control each other, which is exactly what makes politics so challenging. But we all govern ourselves. And it is helpful to think about that anytime the effectiveness, the tone, or the tenor of our political processes come under strain. Each of us decides how to respond to one another's words and actions. And guided by what Lincoln called the better angels of our nature, we are at our best when we exercise that self-government wisely, when we're slow to take offense and loath to stir up animosity, when we recognize that there are not good people and bad people, but good and bad sides to us all, and that in all humility we ought to draw on what is best in us in order to appeal to the best that we can find in one another, all with a view to that future that we all share and the blessings that we all seek for ourselves and for all those who trust us with their money and their lives. Let us continue to work together in that spirit. Whatever is beyond our control, we do control the way we do business. Unlike the ant, unlike the beaver, and the honeybee, we have the power to ask of everything we do, could we do this better? Could we do this in a smarter way, a fairer way, a more effective, more respectful, and more dignified way? We can ask that. So when the answer is no, let us stand firm on our practice. And when the answer is yes, let us waste no time in changing. No matter what time and fortune throw in our way, the character of the city we live in is entirely up to us. So let us keep it well. Thank you and good night.